Everybody. I'm Laura with Link Private Tutoring, and today I'm here with Bara Sapir with City Test Prep. She is the founder and CEO. She is actually a pioneer in bringing holistic human potential techniques to the study process. So we're going to be talking about the idea of specifically the ACT and the SAT, although Bara has written books. She's a co-author of a book about the full potential with the GMAT. There are many standardized tests. Once you are done with your ACT and your SAT, if you plan to go on for a master's degree or a doctorate degree or a law degree, there'll be more tests. And Bara is an expert in helping people reach their full potential. She helps people optimize their test taking results by reducing anxiety, enhancing concentration, confidence, and just going into the test with more ease. We all know that preparing for these tests is more than just knowing the content. You've got to not only know how to take the test, but you have to go into the test with some confidence. So, Bara, what have you seen in these times with families being nervous about seniors going into their senior year without a test score, and also the students taking the test?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. It's great to do this adventure of recording and talking about how to be our best selves. COVID in particular, but anytime parents and students are always super nervous about testing and applications, interviews, figuring out what's the next step, and all of the different changes that come along with applying to college and also planning to leave. So COVID has just made it more intense for everybody, and also it's also changed the landscape, right? Because students are home, and it's a whole different process. And what we do is we give parents and students skills to get out of their own way so that they can emotionally regulate and feel calm, focused, and confident when they go in to take the test, and for parents to really help their kids as they're walking the tightrope of wanting to support them and have them be independent, but also wanting to give them the resources and skills and support so that they know that they're there for them.
So what's one thing that maybe just families, parents, teens, doesn't matter where you are, you can do just to kind of, like you said, regulate your emotions and your anxiety when you're feeling that overwhelm?
So one of my favorite techniques is from Heart Math. And what I like about it is it's not too weird. It's not too out there, and anyone can do it anytime. And what it is, it's called heart breathing. And what heart breathing does is it emotionally regulates everybody, because it just allows you to refocus on your breathing, gives you a focus, but you don't have to take 8 years of meditation to do it, right? You could just do it right now. I'll teach it now, and it will only take 30 seconds. And if you give yourself 2 minutes to 5 minutes, you can actually get to a place of feeling regulated, feeling focused. So the way that you do it is that you sit or you stand with your feet on the ground. You just relax. You can move your shoulders a little bit, just get yourself into a really safe, easy position. And then you look ahead and you have a point on a wall ahead of you somewhere. So a wall or a window or something outside, and you pick a point and you start breathing as if you're breathing to that point. And you put your hand up to your heart. You could put one hand or two hands up to your heart. And then as you breathe in, you notice the breath, and then you breathe out, and you imagine that your heart is breathing out instead of your mouth and lungs. You imagine that your heart is breathing to that point. So we could just take 30 seconds now and just allow your heart to have that trajectory to the point that you see in front of you.
That is calming.
Yeah, it's pretty immediate. It's pretty amazing. I love it because it's also, you could do it anywhere, and it's not even, you could be anywhere and you could do this and no one's going to look at you strange. There's other things I do that people might look at you strange, but this one is almost the PG version. So it's not taking out the big guns, and it's
That's
really
a
nice.
wonderful thing, and that's something that families could learn and possibly do together. I
Yeah.
know I know a family where the young child has some anxiety, and he learned tapping. I don't know if it's like this point, but he learned a tapping point, and now the
Mhm.
whole family does it.
Yeah, that's called EFT, emotional freedom technique, and it's
Mhm.
also called tapping. Tapping is a, I prefer the name tapping, actually. It doesn't, emotional freedom sounds so dramatic, right?
Right.
So tapping, there's modalities, and it's based in meridian, Chinese meridians, and it's also based on reframing, and it's based on positive mindset and affirmations. So it's a very powerful tool. We don't have time to do it today.
No, but it's called EFT or tapping, so people could
Yes.
look that up if it sounds
Yeah.
interesting to them.
Yeah. I have a video actually. I could probably post somewhere, but yeah, they can look it up on
And we can
YouTube.
link to
There's
it as
lots
a
of videos. Yeah. Hmm.
sounds awesome. What's something that the actual test taker can do? Is there anything that, like, by the time you're in the test taking situation, is it just do your best, or are there things they can do right then and there?
So what I want to say about that is that the breathing is great, and if you have that, you can use that anytime.
True.
When you're going in to take a test, my hope is that you've actually prepared yourself emotionally for it. So you don't want to just have these last minute things that you're going to do. You want to actually prepare, and whether that's meditation or hypnosis or neurolinguistic programming or the tapping that you talked about, you want to prepare your emotional self when you go in to take the test. It's not just having these, cure all in the test. Now, if you don't have any sort of practice, this technique will work, but you're just setting yourself, it's kind of like not studying for a test and then going into the test, right? You want to prepare your mind, your emotional regulation, your whole system for taking a test ahead of time. But what I'll show you is something called the backward spin. It's a neurolinguistic programming technique. And
Okay.
what you do is that when you have any kind of panic, what
Hmm.
happens is you feel that panic move up your body. It will, like, for me, it starts in my stomach, and it will like shoot up,
Me
right? So you
too.
feel that emotion, you
And
feel
I
that
feel it
motion.
up to here sometimes. The worst
Right.
it can come up. Yeah.
Right. So you feel it. So you want to track it, and then you want to notice that it usually will go up and then down, and then up and then down. So
Mhm.
there's usually a circular motion. And so you can track that, but you want to then, when you see that you're actually feeling weird and uncomfortable, push it in the opposite direction. So actually imagine you're pushing it in the opposite direction, the size of a basketball, take it out of your body, and then imagine it's going in the opposite direction. Just imagine it. Your imagination is super powerful.
So
You
it's
imagine it,
outside of my body, but I'm just
you're
rolling.
imagining, yeah, you're imagining that you're pushing. And like I just tell my students to just do this. Imagine it's outside. You can even close your eyes if you want, right?
Mhm.
And then I want you to think of a time when you had really inappropriate laughter. Really inappropriate. You really shouldn't be laughing, and you're laughing. You throw that in the mix. So you imagine that time. Then you imagine a time where you feel really comfortable. It could be maybe sitting on the beach or sitting with friends or in your room, however you feel comfortable. Throw that in the mix. And then think of someone or something that you love. Like I might think of my dog or my parents or my friends. Throw that in the mix. And then you put all of that back inside of you. Take a deep breath and then move on. Now, we just spent maybe a minute working on that. You could do it in 20 seconds. You could
I
do it
feel
in 10 seconds.
better. I mean, like, yeah,
Mhm.
I can
Yeah.
feel the difference.
Yeah. It's great.
That's amazing. And so a student could do it without doing their hands. They could totally
As long as they can,
visualize that if they were
yeah.
in a testing situation.
Mhm. But you can
But-
also do it like this. I mean, you don't have to do it like
oh
this.
yeah, yeah.
You can,
You could just be
whatever,
under
whatever
the
works.
desk, nobody sees what you're doing, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Whatever is going to work for the student. So you want to practice this before you go into the test so you know what's going to work when you're there.
So what is that called?
It's called the backward spin.
Backward spin.
Mhm.
That's amazing. That's
Mhm.
awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait to share this with my students that I tutor, just because there's one thing that I share with them, which the mudras from yoga. I
Right.
used to do this, and it actually stands for birth, life, death, rebirth. is what it stands for. But and like you said, if you practice, so I did it so much that just like 3 times and just some, I just do that like 3 times and I'm calmer. But it's like a muscle memory thing. Like doing this 3 times is not going to automatically make anybody calmer. It's the muscle memory that brings it back. And I think students have been taught some other things with muscle memory. I can't remember them, but they're taught to, I think of something good and like, I don't know, I can't remember. They've shared it with me. But
So
any
that
technique.
that comes from neurolinguistic programming also. So it's called anchoring. So what anchoring does is that if you have a particular desired state, and let's say it's calm, and you do these motions, you're creating muscle memory. You're anchoring the calmness so that when you go back to it, it's actually bringing you back. It's speeding you to that place of calmness right then and there. So that's a combination of two different modalities that you're doing.
I ask students often if they come to me and they say, part of my problem is test anxiety. And I ask them a few questions to find out if it's true test anxiety. And when it is, or even when it's not, I ask them, do you have coping mechanisms? Do you have something that you can do when you feel anxious? And I'm surprised at how few teenagers say, yes, I have a coping mechanism.
Yep.
So that's one reason why I wanted to talk to you and learn this. And in such a short time, you've taught us so much. Is there anything else that you had to share?
Oh, there's thousands of things to share, but but we did some really potent ones today.
We
I,
did
I mean,
some
like
awesome.
this is I mean, there's so many things to share. People can get in touch with me. I do individual coaching with students. I sometimes teach workshops. We have a mindful speed reading workshop in which we go over different modalities with students, plus they learn how to read more quickly for the ACT and the SAT. We have other tracks, graduate school test tracks, and then middle school track tests. And even the parents who get really excited, they can take an adult speed reading workshop that has mindfulness. But mostly I work one-on-one with students, and it's only a 5-hour investment of time, because it's like 2 to 5 hours and we can move through people's anxiety and they're good to go.
That's just amazing. Well, thank you so much. I'm so honored to have talked to you and learned so much. And I'm going to, when I post this, I'm going to put all the links to the things that you just talked about, because I know people are going to definitely want to find out more.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It's
Thank
great to see
you
you.
so much.